Okay, so let's take a look at how to do a summary question. Okay, the summary question is one of the more challenging questions for a lot of students, and one of the reasons why it is challenging for some students is because it's a lot of times the summary is made up. It can be a lot of times they can take a sentence from paragraph B, a sentence from paragraph C, and a sentence from paragraph E, and put those sentences together to make a summary. So sometimes a summary can be a summary of information in one paragraph, or it can be a summary of information from multiple paragraphs. Well, the more difficult one, of course, is when it's a summary from multiple paragraphs. That's the one that's more challenging. What also makes a summary question challenging is that sometimes the information does not have to come in order. All right, so if you have a summary question, the information for number 25 might be found before the information for number 24 or before the information for number 23 because it's a summary. And so those are two of the things with a summary question that can make it a challenge for a lot of students. That can make it a challenge for a lot of students when that happens sometimes. So you have to, that's what makes it difficult for some. This is an example of what a summary question looks like. Like I told you, that this is one form. There are two forms of the summary question. One form has words in a box that you can choose from, and the first form here is just fill in the blank also without words in the box. But like I told you, number 33 might come before number 31. We don't know, and that's what makes it a challenge. A lot of times it depends on if the summary question is found in reading passage number 1, or if the summary question is found in reading passage number 3. If the summary question is found in reading passage number 3, then there's a good chance that those sentences are not going to go in order, and that can make it a lot more difficult to be able to handle. All right. So we talked about that. It can come in from one paragraph or a combination of 2 to 4 paragraphs. All right. So you want to, in terms of strategy, when you're looking at a summary question like this, you want to look at these 4 questions here and try to decide, well, which ones have information that are easier to do first. Because you don't have to go in order from 31 to 34. You sometimes want to pick out the ones that are easier to do first. Number 31 actually doesn't look too bad because it's talking about the early days of photography, which might be easier to find, but it also talks about 3 clear views. So we're looking for a sentence. Sometimes it can be a combination of 2 sentences, but we're looking for 1 or 2 sentences to discuss the early days of photography and 3 clear views. So that it might be good to start with 31, but really none of the other questions look easier than the other. You know, there are no names, there are no scientific words, there are no dates, there are no proper nouns, there are no specific nouns that don't have synonyms, and so we're not going to be able to really choose some that we might do before others in this situation here. But you want to always check that. And so we want to then treat it exactly like a fill-the-blank question. We treat it exactly like a fill-the-blank question. And what that means is that we are able to go find the sentence where the question comes from, and then we read that sentence or sentences where the question comes from, and then we pick the answer that goes on the blank line. So it's done just like a normal fill-the-blank question. All right? Okay, and this is exactly what I've just been talking about here, right? We take the easiest question, scan for it, find it, read it, and then look at the question, look at the words before and after the blank line, and then we search the passage keyword sentence and locate the language that's before and after the blank line, because our answer is going to directly connect to that, okay? All right, so that's the way that we do a summary question. In terms of order, a lot of times, a lot of times if I have a fill the blank question and a true false not given question, I'm probably going to do those first before the summary question. I'm probably going to do those first before the summary question. The reason why is it's going to give me a chance to look at a lot of the passage and become more familiar with it while I'm answering questions. And then the summary question might be a little bit easier to do. Okay, so those are the key points about the summary question, and so now let's go through some examples to show you exactly how to do it. Okay, all right. So thanks a lot, and I will talk to you soon.